Hotep Senu, Hena Senut, E.T., Ren Isha Kandugu Kemet. I hope you're doing well, brothers and sisters. Thank you for those who are already here. Remember, and thank you for these 2 thumbs up. Um, what is it that I wanted to say? Oh, yes. I have the troublemaker near me, so if you see me going like this, I have to monitor because you know how children gets down when you don't look. That's when they experiment all the kind of things that you will not allow them to do if you are not concentrated elsewhere. Now, I couldn't find the glyph that stands for Hotep. Oh, attention. So I've used this one, which is a combination of Per, which stands primarily for house, and of course Ankh, that you know very well, that you can find in a very famous king's name, Tutankhamen or Tutankhamen or Tutankhamun. You have the Ankh. Ankh stands for life primarily also. So Per Ankh, people might propose the translation house of life. Before I continue, I might as well check that the sound is loud and clear. One moment, please. Non, toujours ça. Let's check the sound. Non, arrête. Let's check the sound. Okay, it's good, loud and clear. So, it's a good thing that we can put glyphs on titles of the YouTube videos. Every now and then I might try to take that habit. So we have Dion White. You should on up channel for more exposure. I don't understand that sentence, but then you wrote, he said he was doing all he can to promote righteous, conscious Black people. I did not really understand what you were trying to say. If you can rephrase that for me. But thank you for being here and welcome. And by the way, on the pinned comment, you will have the link to get on the panel so you can speak directly. And just for the record, I'm sharing the link. Calling link. You can use your mobile phone, PC, tablet, anywhere they like, and speak to us directly. So, Per Ankh reminds me of an endeavor years back, which was Per Ma'at. I came up with the title. I used to meet with so-called non-Abrahamic people, and I used to teach the Medu Neter and the Swahili. And it was a good experience at the beginning. But when they started defending Pan-African rapists and Pan-African pedophiles, well, I couldn't roll with that anymore. Now, amazingly, they ain't about nothing now. There isn't anything popping for them. And that's how it is, man. Now, Dion White wrote, I should go on because he says he will do everything in his power to promote like-minded individual. Did you? He says, it looks like you're typing quite quick. Maybe you're talking about young Pharaoh, but I think he knows who I am because he has used some of the videos I've uploaded. My link can be seen. So I'm not saying that he knows me personally because we never spoke. We don't know each other, but he might know at least to a very small extent what I do if he used one of my video. But who knows, maybe he saw one of my video on somebody else's platform or channel. So as a matter of fact, he might not be aware at all of who I am and what I do. But we are here now anyway, so feel free to come in. So yes, that reminded me of that Per Ankh Per Maat. And amazingly, some people just went and copied the name. It's so amusing. She loves to copy. But hey, that was then. So let me know what's on your mind, brothers and sisters. Now, that as a title, Hotep, I don't know how people will react to that. And when I say people, I mean the people, I mean the individuals who don't really know much about Kemet and what it stands for, because we all know that this word has been vilified. This school of thought or culture has been vilified mainly by Abrahamic um, people, and maybe I could say particularly by people of the Asiatic black man persuasion, but it has lasted for a long time. I don't really hear people using that word as a derogatory term anymore, but it has lasted. I'm sorry, it did last for quite some time. But Hotep, for the record, um, can be translated by peace. Okay, and this is a word that does exist on the stele, on the walls, on the papyri. It's a real word. It's not something made up. And that word is an African language. We don't need to go to other populations' language and claim that it's our own, like the Hebrew do. And I'm talking about the Hebrew Israelite who claim that we were Hebrews and that this is our religion, culture, language, and same for the black Muslims. I mean, if somebody looks into Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and he likes it, then he can go on and practice that faith or school of thought or religion or way of life, but it doesn't have to turn it into a black thing. You understand? Just like you have some white people who will practice some traditional African religion or way of life or spirituality. They're not trying to turn it into a white thing. You don't have to change the demographic and the history or the background of something that you practice. Now, maybe I'm in error when I mention the fact that this Abrahamic belief system is not something that we originated, that we practice as a group of people. So if I'm in error, I guess some people might come and show me how I'm in error. They might have some evidence, they might have some data, they might have some record to enlighten me and let me know and let us know that this is wrong. Now, we will see what material they will bring to the table. Besides that, as usual, feel free to come up and state your piece. Whether it's a question or a statement, then feel free by all means. It's earlier than usual, but it's best this way. So I will not finish Too late. I have to plug this. I have to plug this thing. Make sure it has power. Otherwise, it's gonna be goodbye. Non, 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 non. C'est quoi ça? She's just wreaking havoc right here. Yeah. Okay. Bear with me. I'm just going to plug that in. Laisse ça, laisse, touche pas ça. But don't be shy, brothers and sisters. For those who don't want to call in, you can type your messages. Okay? Because I'm used. Hold on. Viens ici. I'm used to the shy revolutionaries. They are willing to fight. They are willing to engage in a struggle. But they will always remain anonymous. But to each his own, everybody have their way of going about things. Most important is to get the information, and then people will act differently with the information that they have gained, that they have received. She's in rare form. It's okay, it's okay. So, let me know what's up, let me know what's good. What are the news, what are the current events? Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share something. I hope I have it handy. Non, 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 non. Non, non, fais pas ça. Fais pas ça. Ok, so. Non, c'est bon, tu descends. Voilà. Let me see. I hope I have it handy. Black man. Greetings to all. I am Shakan Dugu Kemet. We're going to start right off. Freemasonry, Encyclopedia Britannica 2012. In addition to the main body of Freemasonry derived from the British tradition, there are now a number of appendant groups that are primarily social or fun organizations, which have no official standing in Freemasonry, but which draw their membership from the higher degrees of Freemasonry. They are especially prevalent in the United States. Among those known for their charitable work are the ancient Arabic order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, the Shriners. Next slide. You can see this is coming from the Shriners International website. You have the link at the bottom. Now, the fairs that you see is part of the website template. Here's the beginning. You have the link for the website. It's coming from their own website, Shriners International once again. It says, in 1870, a group of Masons gathered frequently for lunch at the Nighbroker Cottage on 6th Avenue in New York City. At a special table on the second floor, a particularly fun-loving group of men met regularly. Among the regulars were Walter M. Fleming, M.D., and William J. Billy Florence, an actor. The group frequently talked about starting a new fraternity for Masons, one centered on fun and fellowship, more than ritual. Fleming and Florence took this idea seriously enough to do something about it. Billy Florence had been on tour in France and had been invited to a party given by an Arabian diplomat. The exotic style, flavors, and music of the Arabian theme party
inspired him to suggest this as a theme for the new fraternity. Walter Fleming, a devoted fraternity brother, built on Fleming's idea and used his knowledge of fraternal ritual to transform the Arabian theme into the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine. With the help of Knickerbocker Cottage regulars, Fleming drafted the ritual, designed the emblem and costumes, formulated a salutation, and declared that members will wear the red fez. The first meeting of Mecca Shriners, the first temple chapter established in the United States, was held September 26, 1872. Next, the fez is one of the most recognizable symbols of Shriners International and was adopted as the Shriners' official headgear in 1872. Named after the city of Fez, Morocco, the hat represented the Arabian theme the fraternity was founded on. It also serves as an outward symbol of one's membership in the fraternity. Much like the white apron worn by Masons as a symbol of their brotherhood, the fez is worn only by Shriners as a symbol of their membership in his unique fraternity. Today, the fez is worn at Shriners' function, in parades, and at outings as a way of gaining exposure for the fraternity. Members customize their fez to show their allegiance to their temple. Look closely at the fez and you will also learn other important information about its wearer, such as membership in shrine clubs, special roles within the organization, and much more. Each fez is custom made, and a Shriner may own more than one fez depending on his activities and memberships. Next, the emblem on the front of the fez, the crescent and scimitar, is an important part of the fraternity's theme and is representative of the characteristics embodied by the Shriners. The scimitar stands for the backbone of the fraternity, its members. The two claws are for the Shriners' fraternity and its philanthropy. The Sphinx stands for the governing body of the Shriners. The five-pointed star represents the thousands of children helped by the philanthropy each year. The emblem also bears the phrase Rebour et Fureur, which means strength and fury. Next, all Shriners are Masons, but not all Masons are Shriners. Shriners International is a spin-off from Freemasonry, the oldest, largest, and most widely known fraternity in the world. The Freemasonry dates back hundreds of years to when stonemasons and other craftsmen gathered after work in shelter houses or lodges. Over time, the members organized into Masonic guilds, and the tools of their trade, the square and compass, became the symbol of their brotherhood. Over time, Masonry evolved into an organization that began to accept members who were not craftsmen. Today, Masonry is built upon a foundation of improving character and strengthening communities, though the square and compass are still the symbols of the fraternal brotherhood. When Shriners International was first founded in 1872, the organization built on the principles that guided Freemasonry, while adding an element of fun and ultimately philanthropy that set Shriners International apart. The two organizations are also structured similarly. Shriners have temples. Masons have a Blue Lodge or Craft Lodge. Members of the Masonic lodges are required to learn about their fraternity and earn a series of Masonic degrees. When a member has completed the third and final degree, he becomes a Master Mason, and is then eligible to become a Shriner. Additional courses in Masonic study are available. These are known as the Scottish Rite and the York Rite. And you have a link to learn more about how to become a Mason and a Shriner. Next. So here we have the first symbol, the Shriners emblem. Remember, the first meeting of Mecca Shriners was in 1872. Next, Moorish Science Temple of America. U.S. religious movement founded in Newark, New Jersey, in 1913 by Timothy Drew, known to followers as Noble Drew Ali and also as the Prophet. Drew Ali thought that all blacks were of Moorish origins but had their Muslim identity taken away from them through slavery and racial segregation. Drew Ali moved his organization several times and ultimately settled in the mid-20s in Chicago, where he found success. He died under mysterious circumstances during a period of internal strife, and the Moorish Science Temple of America split into several factions. The Nation of Islam grew out of the contested succession to Drew Ali and became a separate organization in Detroit in 1932. Next, here you can see several of the symbolism of the MSTA. Next, this is a well-known picture, and where you have the arrow, that individual pointed. Some people do say that this is Fard Muhammad. This is not my claim. This is just for the record. Next, teachings of Noble Drew Ali. This is coming from the Moorish questionnaire, better known as the Moorish 101. Number 5. Who is Noble Drew Ali? He is Allah's prophet. 11. Where was Noble Drew Ali born? In the state of North Carolina, 1886. 12. What is his nationality? Moorish American. 13. What is your nationality? Moorish American. 14. Why are we Moorish Americans? Because we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. 17. What is our religion? Islamism. 43. At what age did Jesus begin to teach? At the age of 12. 44. Where did he teach? India, Africa, and Europe. 88. What is meant by the word black? Black, according to science, means death. 94. Will you define the word white? White means purity. Purity means God, and God means the ruler of the land. Next, you have the link to this website, and you can see the flag of the Moorish, well, what they call the Moorish flag. Next, here is a quote from the book The Messenger, The Rise and Fall of 1862. Drew Ali believed that Morocco was the original land of African Americans, whom he called Moors and Asiatics. Next, same book, page 64. In 1913, Drew, greatly influenced by the writings of white spiritualist Levi H. Dowling, author of the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus the Christ, formed his own sect, calling it the Canaanite Temple. After Dowling died in 1911, Drew plagiarized the book, combined it with the teachings of the Ahmadiyya movement and material from Freemasonry to produce his so-called Holy Quran. He changed his name to Drew Ali, preceded by the title of Noble, which he borrowed from Masonic ritual. Black Americans, Noble Drew Ali wrote, were actually Asiatics who descended from the Moabites. Same book, page 65. By 1928, Drew Ali had established 17 temples in 15 states, the one in Chicago being the largest and most profitable. Next, here you can see the quote-unquote Moorish Quran, also known as the Seven Circle Quran, and on the right the cover of the book The Aquarian Gospel of Jesus the Christ, which was plagiarized by Drew Ali. Next, here you have the symbolism. We have started with the Shriner's Emblem in 1872, and then we can see the similarities with the Moorish flag. Next, dealing with the Asiatic influence. Number 84 of the Moorish 101. When was the head of Satan taken off? 1453. Byzantine. 85. By whom? By Mohammed II. The Encyclopedia Britannica 2012 tells us about Mehmed II, Ottoman Sultan from 1444 to 1446 and from 1451 to 1481. A great military leader, he captured Constantinople. Now Constantinople, from the same source, largest city and seaport of Turkey. It was formerly the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Now, dealing with the title Bey, common to the Moors, it comes from Turkish Bey, Old Turkish Beg, Arabic Bey or Bey. Title among Turkish peoples traditionally given to rulers of small tribal groups, to members of ruling families, and to important officials. Later, Bey became a general title of respect in Turkish and Arab countries, added after a personal name and equivalent to Esquire or Sir in conversation in English. Next. Still dealing with the MSTA. Number 87. In all reality, what is a Negro? A Negro is a four-legged animal. 90. What does Ethiopia mean? Ethiopia means something divided. 91. Can a man be a Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian? No. Now, from the quote-unquote Moorish Quran, chapter 45, the divine origin of the Asiatic nations. Number 2. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. The Moorish were ancient Moabites and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. Before I move further with the Asiatic influence and the MSTA, I want to give a notable mention, which is the UNIA, founded by Marcus Garvey, because he came around the same time. Marcus Garvey, charismatic black leader who organized the first important American black nationalist movement, 1919 to 1926, based in New York City's Harlem. Largely self-taught, Garvey attended school in Jamaica until he was 14. After traveling in Central America and living in London from 1912 to 1914, he returned to Jamaica, where, with a group of friends, he founded, August 1, 1914, the Universal Negro Improvement and Conservation Association and African Communities League, usually called the Universal Negro Improvement Association, which sought, among other things, to build in Africa a black-governed nation. Failing to attract a following in Jamaica, Garvey went to the United States and soon established branches of the UNIA in Harlem and the other principal ghettos of the North. By 1919, the rising Black Moses claimed a following of about 2 million, though the exact number of association members was never clear. From the platform of the association's Liberty Hall in Harlem, he spoke of a new Negro proud of being black. His newspaper, Negro World, told the exploits of heroes of the race and of the splendors of African culture. He thought that blacks would be respected only when they were economically strong, and he preached an independent black economy within the framework of white capitalism. To forward these ends, he established the Negro Factories Corporation and the Black Star Line, as well as a chain of restaurants and grocery stores, laundries, a hotel, and a printing press. He reached the height of his power in 1920 when he presided at an international convention in Liberty Hall with delegates present from 25 countries. The affair was climaxed by a parade of 50,000 through the streets of Harlem, led by Garvey in flamboyant array. His business methods, however, and his doctrine of racial purity and separatism, he even approved of the white racist Ku Klux Klan because it sought to separate the races, brought him bitter enemies among established black leaders, including labor leader A. Philip Randolph and W. E. B. Du Bois, head of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Garvey's influence declined rapidly when he and other UNIA members were indicted for mail fraud in 1922 in connection with the sale of stock for the Black Star Line. He served 2 years of a 5-year prison term, but in 1927 his sentence was commuted by President Calvin Coolidge and he was deported as an undesirable alien. He was never able to revive the movement abroad, and he died in virtual obscurity. Now back to the Asiatic influence. We're moving right on from Freemasonry to Shriners to Moors to the Nation of Islam. Here you have a picture of Elijah Muhammad wearing the fez, and in the middle, this is taken from the book Sheikh Dawood versus W.D. Fard, which is available online. Quote from Carl Evans' book The Messenger, The Rise and Fall of Elijah Muhammad, page 60. As the UNIA spiraled downward, so did Elijah. Strong drink became his communion wine, and festering racial animosity the bread that sustained his dying dreams. He blamed white people not only for Garvey's downfall, but for the bankruptcy of the UNIA members who had invested their savings in Garvey's steamship stocks. Like a million other lost souls, Elijah wandered from organization to organization seeking spiritual fulfillment. One of his first expeditions was into the esoteric world of Freemasonry. Since the mainstream Masonic organization, the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine of North America, was all white, Elijah enlisted in the all-black ancient Egyptian order of the nobles of the mystic shrine of North and South America. The Black Shriners, as these Freemasons were known, were a large bureaucracy with a virtually impenetrable hierarchy. Next, you will hear from yourself Elijah Muhammad saying, confirming that he was once a Mason.
Once I was a Mason too. Until I became a Muslim, I was a Mason.
Next, quote from the same book, page 62. Repentant, Elijah again promised to quit drinking and to give Clara back the proud man she married. As part of his spiritual quest, he attended meetings of a local temple that called its religion Islam and whose members were called Muslims. The founder of the temple, he learned during his first visit, was a strangely dressed man by the name of Noble Drew Ali. According to the temple's teachings, Drew Ali was the seal of God's prophets, despite the word of the Holy Quran, the book that Orthodox Muslims accept as the direct word of Allah. As did Muhammad of the 7th century, Drew Ali produced a holy book, this one called the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Page 65. While he had never personally seen nor heard Marcus Garvey deliver a speech, Elijah did attend a lecture given by Drew Ali in Detroit and was profoundly impressed. He was soon among the thousands of black who joined the Moors. Because of their odd dress, employers had no problem singling the Moors out for discrimination. The maroon fezes, which men were required to wear at all times, and the goatees were a dead giveaway. As Moors held themselves superior to white people, their religious beliefs frequently resulted in hostile encounters on the streets and in the workplace. Next, comparing teachings of Drew Ali with those of Elijah Muhammad. Still from the Moorish questionnaire, better known as the Moorish 101, number 57. So this is coming from the MSTF, from Drew Ali. Who were Adam and Eve? They are the one who brought about discord in the holy city of Mecca and were driven out. 58. Where did they go? They went into Europe. 59. What is the modern name given to their children? Roman. 60. What is the shade of their skin? Pale. Now comparing with Elijah Muhammad's lost found Muslim lesson number 14. Why did we run Jacob and his mad devil from the root of civilization, over the hot desert into the caves of West Asia, as they now call it, Europe. Answer: because they had started making trouble among the righteous people telling lies. You can see that from the Moorish questionnaire, we are told that the white people, the Europeans white people went into Europe. And also on Elijah Muhammad's lesson, we are told that they went they ran out Jacob and his mate devil, meaning white people, into Europe. We are told on number 57 that they brought a discord, and there we are told from the MSTA, Drew Ali, we are told that they brought discord into the holy city of Mecca. And in Elijah Muhammad's lesson, we are told that they started making trouble. Also in Elijah Muhammad's book entitled The Black Stone, page 176, this took place in the 2000 years before Moses, when God drove the white man out of the paradise of the garden. It only means the Holy Land of Arabia. They were in Persia, or Persia, over there in the valley of the Euphrates River. When they drove them out, they went across what is known as Syria, Lebanon, into Turkey, and into the hills and mountains of Europe. So once again, we are told about the holy city in Mecca, if you look at number 57 from the MSTA, from Drew Ali. And there we are told from Elijah Muhammad, the Holy Land of Arabia. And same again at the bottom, you can see that they went into the mountains of Europe. Just like you told on number 58 from the MSTA, where did they go? They went into Europe. Next. Teachings of Drew Ali compared to those of Elijah Muhammad once again. Drew Ali, Moorish 101, number 36. What does the name Jesus mean? Jesus means justice. Elijah Muhammad, the Black Stone, page 2. It means this, that Jesus being buried, that name Jesus means justice here. Exactly the same quote. Now Drew Ali from the quote-unquote Moorish Quran, chapter 45, the divine origin of the Asiatic nations. Number 2. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. Elijah Muhammad, Supreme Wisdom 110, the student enrollment. Number 1. Who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man. So we have the Asiatic nations and the Asiatic black man. Next, still with the Arabic influence, we're dealing with Arab money. The great gift of our Libyan brothers by Messenger Elijah Muhammad, reprinted from the May 19, 1972 edition of Muhammad Speaks newspaper. We, the Muslims, want the world to know that we thank the Libyan people and their government for the great surprise in loaning us nearly $3 million in cash. Here, we will see Khalid Abdul Muhammad talking about the time when Gaddafi gave $5 million to Farrakhan.
To your best of your knowledge, could you explain to us what you know, what the $1 billion was offered for?
I'm sorry?
To the best of your knowledge, could you explain to us what the $1 billion was offered for?
To the best of my knowledge, I can, because from the beginning I was involved. I'm responsible by God's grace for Minister Farrakhan and Brother Muammar Gaddafi meeting. When I was married to my son Farrakhan's mother, we took our own money and went to Libya, the Libyan Arab Jamahiriya. We went to Libya. We stayed there 3 months to get a meeting with Brother Muammar al-Gaddafi. We had our letters and all of our correspondence in English on one side, translated in Arabic on the other side. We went to every office, every government building, every military office. We went all over, and we hung in there. We took audio tapes, videotapes, and looked for those who had the American system or the dual system to play the videos of Minister Farrakhan. We did everything to get a meeting between Minister Farrakhan and Brother Gaddafi, because Minister Farrakhan had sought a meeting with him years back. And when he arrived in Libya to meet with Gaddafi, Gaddafi's plane was taking off. There was a miscommunication and something had happened and they missed each other. So I was dedicated to the two of them meeting. And I stayed in there and laid in there until God helped me to set up the base and the foundation for the $5 million that came to Minister Farrakhan. I did the work of cutting down the underbrush, paving the way, and opening up the way for the $5 million.
So we had $3 million, nearly $3 million to Elijah Muhammad from Gaddafi. Then we have $5 million to Farrakhan from Gaddafi. Now we will see that Khalid Abdul Muhammad was a Mason.
We would like to present to some and introduce to others a man that need no introduction. He's a man that has been initiated into the degree of his apprentice, passed to the degree of a fellow craftsman, and raised to the sublime degree of a master mason, walked into the lodge of perfection where perfect men were at council, and from this point walked on into the consistory and crowned the sublime prince of the royal secret of the 32nd degree king of the hot-born sands of the desert, trying to find rest in the shade of the oasis, washed in the pool of Mecca, kissed the black rock of Jephthah, and stepped back on the square and declared himself a man of noble birth. He's a member of the board of directors of the Imperial Grand Council of the ancient Abbey Court of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine of the United States of America, the illustrious noble Russia Dean.
Sisters, may I have your attention, please? Brothers and sisters, in Islam, we are taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to begin every important event asking for the divine blessings, asking for the divine providence of Almighty God, and to begin every important event in His name. And I can find no other event more important than this Founders Day banquet, and to begin in the name and asking for His divine blessing. So in the name of Almighty God, Allah, and in the name of His Christ and His messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we thank that God, Allah, for coming as it was written and prophesied that He would come, seeking that which was lost. And we can find no other people fitting the description of the lost sheep, the lost brother, and the lost sister, except we, the 50 million or more so-called American Negroes who are lost here in the hells of North America. Lost sheep who have lost our names, lost our language, lost our religion, our culture, and our God, lost our folkways, our mores, and our norms. In the way some of us act, we have even lost our mind. And so we thank that God, it is written in the Bible that He would come seeking that which was lost and out of place. I greet you in the greeting words of peace, as spoken in the ancient tongue, spoken in the language that Jesus and all of the great worthies who came in the great line of divine, the language that they all spoke. They didn't speak English in those days. If Jesus were here at the Founders Day banquet to honor Dr. P.J. Jones tonight, Jesus would not stand up and say good evening, but Jesus would speak in the tongue of his time, and he would say, Assalamu alaikum. Be the him. And so as it is written, this is the Lord's doing. When you see the Muslim and the Mason, when you see the Muslim sister, and when you see the daughters of the various orders of the ancient Arabic order, when you see them begin to come together, you know that the dry bones are really beginning to shake and come together. There are some in this room together tonight that under ordinary circumstances wouldn't be together. But God has his hands on this whole situation.
What we can take note of is 1. The fez with symbols similar to the Shriners worn by the introducer. 2. Khalid being called Master Mason. 3. Khalid called Noble. 4. Mention of Lodge. Next. Now you remember the Asiatic influence. Byzantine, Constantinople, Turkey. Now look at the Turkish flag and the Nation of Islam flag. So we have the symbolism from 1872 with the Shriners emblem to 1930, with the MSTA to 1930 with the NOI. Next, from Freemasonry to Shriners to Moors to NOI to 5%, the Nation of Gods and Earth, known as the NGE. It was started by Clarence Smith, later known as Clarence 13X, later known as Allah or Father Allah. Clarence 13X was a member of the Nation of Islam until around 1963. Using the NOI lessons slightly modified, he founded the NGE. Here is a cultural center of the Nation of Gods and Earth in Harlem. It is called Allah School in Mecca. Remember, we are told when it comes to the Shriners, the first meeting of Mecca Shriners. Now we can see the symbol or emblem of the NGE. On the left is taken from the website quoted, and on the right you have an excerpt from the book Sheikh Dawood versus Fard. So here we have the symbolism from 1872 with the Shriners emblem, to 1913 with the MSTA, to 1930 with the NOI, to 1963 with the NGE. Going from Freemasonry to Shriners to Moors to Nubians. The United Nubian Nation of Moors. On the left, it says, coming forth to you from the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek or Malachizedek. And on the right, this is taken from the same book, Sheikh Dawood versus W.D. Fard. We are told, authored by the Grandmaster Dr. Malachi Z. York from the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek. So we went first from the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine to the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek. Still from the same book, you can clearly see the fez worn by Malachi York and also the symbolism. So when we do an outline of the symbols, we go from 1872 with the Shriners to 1913 with the Moorish Science Temple of America, to 1930 with the Nation of Islam, to 1963 with the Nation of Gods and Earth, to around the 70s to the year 2000 with the Nubian Nation of Moors. Remember, the first meeting of Mecca Shriners, the first temple established in the United States, was held in September 26, 1872. Now, when we dealt with the history of the Shriners, the key point here, Billy Florence had been on tour in France and had been invited to a party given by an Arabian diplomat. The exotic style, flavors, and music of the Arabian theme party inspired him to suggest this as a theme for the new fraternity. Walter Fleming, a devoted fraternity brother, built on Fleming's ideas and used his knowledge of fraternal ritual to transform the Arabian theme into the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine. So, in all reality, with all fairness, we are looking at the fathers of the Asiatic black man. Had they been to a party and been inspired by some Indian or Australian or Spanish or South American theme, then it would have been something else. It just happened that when that person went to France, it was an Arabian theme party and he got inspired by that. I want to give a notable mention because they have been around and they have been very significant. The Black Panther Party, the original Black Panther Party, not the current newish or Arabic Panther Party. So the two main founders, of course, Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton. You have a picture of some original members, and you have a text about little Bobby Hutton, who joined when he was only 16 years old. I want to thank you for having watched this video. Please feel free to share it. Feel free to comment. And remember that the main account on YouTube is Egypt Decoded. The website is afrostudy.com/English. afrostyly.com/English. My name is Shaka Ndugu Kemet. If you are not part of the solution, you are part of the problem. Hotep.
Luckily, I had that sign that informed me that my mic was muted. I would have been flowing for a good while before I realized that. Thanks to technology. So let me go through the comments. We have Afro-Asiatic, peace to you. He wrote, peace, Shaka. Healthy discussion yesterday. A productive panel. He also wrote, he also wrote, notice the pharaoh on an Arabian insignia. So, now Kapalot Ram, I did not even realize yesterday when you said your name that it was you. Because this brother has made several donations in the past. And he called in yesterday. He wrote, I'm sure you've had this discussion before, but what's your take on blacks being the original so-called Indians? Well, we do have some black people in India. Hold on. So we do have some black people in India with Negroid phenotype. Now, it's a shame that I had several accounts that were terminated because I used to share so much, so many videos, so many documentaries. So there was one video where they show those people in India and they mentioned that they were there as a result of slavery. Now people might disagree, they might not agree with that. Now we do have the Dravidians who are very dark skinned, or some would say black skinned. But when it comes to the hair texture and the overall phenotype, it's not necessarily a Negroid phenotype. So Some people will use the phenotype of the Dravidians to try to validate claims like this, for example.
So Shabazz was not permitted to stay in that area, so he took his family into the jungle of East Asia, which we now call Africa, to make a people close to nature. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, this is the origin of kinky hair, because we didn't have kinky hair prior to that. The hair on our head was like the hair on our eyebrows. The hair on your eyebrows straight, the hair on your head is not the same as the hair on your eyebrow. But the hair of every other people is the same as their eyebrow. Your eyebrow straight, your hair something different. Wouldn't you like the hair on your head to be as straight as the hair on your eyebrow? That's why you so busy frying it. That's why you so busy pulling it. Because your nature tells you that the kink I mean, you know, with I'm black and I'm proud, we got to learn to be proud of kinks. Because most of your family of other black people on the earth, jet black. They didn't have no broad nose and thick lips and kinky hair. They were dark-skinned people, jet black. But they had straight hair, a thinner lip, a thinner nose. But we are marked as a different kind of black person. And we were rejected and despised, not only from the circle of the gods, but we were despised and rejected by all the other dark people of the earth. This is why today black people with kinky hair and broad nose and thick lips are rejected in every society. I want you to hear me well tonight. Yes, sir. Why are we rejected? Because the essence of beauty is in obedience and submission to God. And the essence of ugliness is when you rebel against God. And when you rebel against God, in your rebellion, you are marked with a certain mark of your rebellion, which is the disfigurement of your internal self, which manifests in the disfigurement of your external self. And this is why when you look at our people, wherever we are found on the earth, you find us either disfiguring ourselves physically because we are disfigured on the inside because of rebellion.
But of course, I don't agree with this kind of hypothesis or doctrine. So I don't know. Now, when we say original Indians, once again, the issue of chronology is very important. But then again, original has to be first. So whether the first, I don't know. They might have been the first, just like black people might have been the first Europeans. If we go from the standpoint that the Greek Mahdi man was black. Now, let me move on with the questions in the comments. Chut, non, tu peux pas prendre ça. Tu peux pas prendre ça. Ça, c'est pas pour toi. We have Mr. Sharp in the place to be welcome to you. We have D. Scott, who kindly made a $10 donation via the super chat / super sticker. It's really the same thing. It can be done directly on the chat. And as a matter of fact, right now, just right now, I've received a donation from a sister, Sister RP. You know her well. She's a regular. She just made a donation via Cash App this time. And thank you very much, Senate Dua Senate. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. You know, this motivates me so much when people uh, make a financial contribution, because it's not easy when you spend so much time and so much effort and even money as well. Because every month I have to pay for this platform that I use to do the live stream. But some people uh, do realize that it has a cost, that it comes with a cost, and they make their contribution. And I want to thank you, not only those who made donations today, but those who made donations in the past. Mirut, thank you very much for that. It is really appreciated. And really, this museum trip, even though I did not go to as many museums that I wanted, but I still went to a few, and I was able to share so many artifacts. And it was thanks to the contribution of brothers and sisters. So thank you once again for helping me in being able to go to those museums in different countries. I think it's a very good thing. It's a good look. Some people, and it's not a competition, but some people will ask for money for whatever reason, but then they don't necessarily deliver. What is sad is when they claim that they will do something and they don't deliver. But usually, people ask for donation for various reasons. But honestly, I'm not about to say that this is the greatest thing ever done in recent years. But when we think about this, when we think about it, I had this plan on going to, and I was driving, by the way. I wasn't taking the plane, because ultimately driving will be cheaper. So driving, me, wifey, and baby girl on the road in several European countries, so that I can document some of our great past. So it's a very nice memory. And the trouble is the COVID situation, because I keep on thinking, I wouldn't mind doing it again, but nothing is certain in terms of being able to travel freely. But anyway, I've been a bit long-winded. There's a lot of nostalgia. I don't even know how you pronounce that in English. Let me look for the word, because it's surely not that what I was trying to say is surely not English. How do you call it? Oh, hold on. The heck? Okay. Let's do it this way. No. Won't be long. No rush. Oh. Well, it is indeed nostalgia. I don't really use it. I'm sorry, I don't really hear it being used often. There's probably another a synonym that is more accurate, let's say. Yo, j'en ai marre. Tu fais trop de bruit là. Sorry about this, but she's just no. I can't say when she dropped things on the floor. It's acting like my mobile phone is like a football or something. So D. Scott wrote, and to go one step further back, Freemasonry is Judaism for Gentiles, and is ultimately controlled, in part, if not fully, by B'nai B'rith. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Well, I never heard that claim before. What do you rely on to make that claim? Is there any documentation that you can mention? Any reference whatsoever? because to me, honestly, it's unlikely. Freemasonry now, many might have different theses or hypotheses for the origin of Freemasonry, but from what I've read, I would say that it derives from that the birthplace or the area where it originated is somewhere around Germany, around Europe. And from what I've read, there's no indication of Judaism. Besides, Masons, maybe it's more recent, but they can have different faiths or different religion. Now, maybe at some point, or maybe some chapters or large or whatever, we're not dealing with religion in particular, or we're dealing with one religion in particular. But anyway, let's wait for documentation so we can take it further. Now, Mr. Sharp wrote, good presentation. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Hey. C'est pas possible ça. C'est pas possible. Non. Je suis pas d'accord. C'est pas possible. C'est pas possible. Tu comprends? C'est pas possible. Tu peux pas faire ça. Tu ne peux pas faire ça. Tu ne peux pas faire ça. Tu ne peux pas faire ça. Now, for those who want to share that presentation, trop bruit. It is called Deception of Asiatic Black Men. You should have the link in the description section of all the videos, or let's say all the videos that are recent. Now, Afro-Asiatic Dravidians speak Austro-Asiatic language, branch of Afro-Asiatic language. Our brother Afro-Asiatic is of the opinion that as long as people speak languages that are part of the same family, then they share a common ethnicity. And I don't agree with that. Now, Mr. Sharp wrote, Malik Ambar became a king in India after being sold into slavery. And this is 16th century. Mr. Sharp wrote there was also an African Masonic lodge established by the Revolutionary War vet Prince Hall. Well, I've heard about that, and it's very strange actually that black people are not accepted in the Masonic lodges. So we had some black lodges. And it's funny when you are not accepted in an area, but you want to be in it so much that you create your own version of it. And when I say you're not being accepted, you might also take that as being rejected. And with the Abrahamic belief system, history shows us that there was a lot of rejection and mistreatment and enslavement. And the result, rather than trying to get away from rejection, well, our people ended up creating their own version of, or persuasion of, several Abrahamic belief system. Afro-Asiatic wrote, never said that, but the Basil, maybe it's a typo, is black for Afro-Asiatic language. Maybe he meant to write base or basic, I don't know. And there are many secret societies in Africa. Hold on, there's one thing that's okay. That's better. Never said that, but well, there are many secret societies in Africa indeed, but a great deal of them are inspired by the Freemasonry, but some are not inspired by Freemasonry. Some go way back. So Afroasiatic is saying that basal, BASAL, is base in genetic nomenclature. Yeah, 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 yeah. Now, do anybody want to call in, or should we make this short? People are shy today, but because I've received a donation, I'd rather not cut it short now. Those of you who've never called in, then why not just say what's up? Even if you don't have anything to say in particular, you can just holler and say what's up. You know. Mr. Sharp wrote, yeah, people need to discover those. Afroasiatic wrote, the doggone certainly are not inspired by modern white Freemasons. I agree. I agree. Mr. Sharp wrote, not at all. I guess he meant to write not at all. I agree with you, brother Afroasiatic. But the Nation of Islam, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Nubians, or Nubian United Nation of Moors, certainly, directly or indirectly, were inspired by modern white Freemasonry, which is what I have demonstrated in that video called Deception of Asiatic Black Men. Oh, great. Mr. Sharp is going to call in. That's lovely. It's lovely. I really like to hear from you because really the deep explanations and the demonstrations, the comparisons have been done throughout my videos. So that's why every now and then I refer people to them. Afroasiatic Road Calling Family Shaka is solid, one of the most equitable hosts that I have seen in these YouTube streets. Thank you, brother. But this statement here is really in opposition to what I've read a while back. But I was even suspecting that maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was some people who pretended to be you, because that's a while back, and it was a time when the trolls were very active, and I was very surprised. But hey, you can see I didn't hold any grudge. So Mr. Sharp is asking for the link. Now, calling. Now, you need to pay attention, brothers and sisters, because it depends. Maybe you are not using a PC, but on the top, the comment that is pinned, that basically always stays at the top, the link is there. But always feel free to ask me for the link. Now, Mr. Sharp is there. I will put him on in a few seconds. And D. Scott wrote, I'm at work now, but will forward you to documentation. Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Sharp, I'm about to put you on in a couple of seconds. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, bro?
I'm chilling. Is this your first time calling in, brother?
It's the second time I called, and it's like I guess my day off.
What?
I'm like I've been really busy. I'm like I'm trying to get in actually to law school. I'm like studying for the LSAT. But
That's good. I'm sorry. Are you the brother who was in your car when you called?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay.
It's good. Yeah, good. I love talking about this stuff. Great to talk to you about. A lot of people they're so set in their I guess belief systems that they become so closed off to like really objective information that can be beneficial actually to finding out the truth of the origin of a lot of these a lot of these claims that people have, popular claims that people have. And I just wanted to come on actually to show you something. I guess it doesn't relate directly to the Nation of Islam, but I always wondered why this wasn't really explored more in depth by them. And there's a book I have called The Almoravids and the Meanings of Jihad, and it's wrote by Ronald A. Messier. I think he's a PhD. I don't know. I'm not. I know he's like a PhD in history and stuff. I'm not sure exactly of all his qualifications, but I know he's a pretty decent source because he's kind of objective with his book, and so here's basically. Yeah. Well, do you know who the Almoravids were, or are you familiar with them?
I've heard about them. I mean, they're okay. Okay, so that's a Berber confederation. Okay, all right. And that's around. They built an empire in the 11th and 12th centuries. That's according to Britannica 2012.
Right.
And that's why the Moors talk about them very often. I mean,
oh, they do.
And when I say the Moors, of course, I mean our brothers in America.
Oh, I didn't know. I never heard of them talking about them. A lot of the Nation of Islam people don't talk about them too often.
Oh no, but brother. When I say the Moors, those are not the same as the Nation of Islam. Did you know that? Yes.
I didn't know. Yeah. Oh, so there's actually like a society that kind of concentrated on this kind of subject matter.
Yes. Now, are you in America?
Yeah, I'm in America. I'm in the tri-state area.
Sorry, what did you say you are?
In the tri-state area. That's like I'm in New Jersey, right?
Oh, New Jersey. Yes, it's not too far from New York.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we have the MSTA, the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Right.
And those people, well, they've been here longer than the Nation of Islam. Some people claim that Far Muhammad was actually part of the MSTA. There's a picture with several members of the MSTA, and they claim, okay, this is Far Muhammad. But of course, the NOI does not agree with that or does not confirm that. But we could say that it's part. Well, actually, Carl Evans, if I'm not mistaken, says that that Elijah Muhammad was part of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Right. With Noble Drew Ali too, or no?
Well, the Moorish Science Temple of America, that's Noble Drew Ali's organization.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes. Now, so yeah, they're quite different. They're close in some respects. They are Islamic, not Orthodox Muslims. But it's not the same. So whenever I say Moors or Moorish brothers, that's not the Nation of Islam.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I thought they were somehow related, but I guess.
And a lot of time you will see the Moors with fezzes on. Most of the time red fezzes, but some will wear black fezzes or maybe with other colors. And you can recognize them often with their names. They will have Bey in their name at the end, B-E-Y. Some will have L at the end. And a fair bit of them have Kemetic names, actually. And but ultimately, on their pages, you will see some symbolism that will let you know, okay, those people are more than not really into Kemet like that. But a fair bit of them, when I interacted with them online on different social media, I first thought that they were into Kemet, and then that's for those who didn't have the Bey or the L in their name. And on top of that, they claim that they are the custodians of Egyptian science, and I think it's probably Drew Ali who said that. Theomet Drew, he was born Theomet Drew, and later on he had the name Drew Ali.
His stuff is like, what he says is like, because a lot of his information I feel is misguided. He talks about the Moabites and how they were like actually a tribe in West Africa, but that's just far from the truth.
Oh yes, I did not even know that he said that, but he wrote so much. And of course, it's well known that he plagiarized the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ by someone called Levi.
Right.
And there's another book also that he said to have plagiarized. But I remember hearing one brother who was saying, well, he never claimed that he was the author of the. When I say plagiarized, that's for his book known as the Seven Circle Quran.
Oh, he played.
Yes, in Quran is spelled with a K for the title, the Seven Circle Quran. And I remember one more who was trying to defend that plagiarism by saying, well, Drew Ali never said that he is the author of the Seven Circle Quran. He claimed that he prepared it, because I think that at the beginning it says something like divinely prepared or prepared by Noble Drew Ali. So, the semantics sometimes with our people, anything goes.
And you said he copied it from what source?
The book is called The Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ.
Okay, the Aquarian.
The Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ. Yes.
My fault. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to show you here. He says now there's now the Almoravid movement was started by a
I'm sorry, brother. Please, can you tell me the title again, please?
Oh, it's the Almoravid and the Meaning of Jihad.
Thank you very much. Yes, go ahead. And which page is it?
This is on page 5.
Thank you very much. Yes, go ahead, please.
So the Almoravid movement was basically started by how do you say? I don't know exactly, but one of the religious leaders of the Malachite, I believe the Sunni Islam Malachite Islamic religious sect, and he was located. His name was Ibn Yassin, Abdallah Ibn Yassin. He was located in Upper Morocco, right around here. So basically, it all started when someone from the Sanhaja Berber Federation, which is actually all of this right here, even on the at like that, from up around here, and it's not on the coast, but it's like up around here, and it stretches all the way to the borders of at that time the Ghanaian Empire and Senegal. So a lot of these people were definitely like dark-skinned black people, and it was even said that they recruited a lot of people from Senegal. So that's where a chief from the Sanhaja Berber, a great chief from the Sanhaja Berber Federation, it says
just hold on. I found the book, so as you read, I will show the page. Right. So everybody can see that at the same time. Now share screen, and now I'll make this larger. So I don't know if it's showing now.
Right.
Yeah. How can I make this full screen? Because how can I? And then no.
Okay, you can zoom. I guess you could zoom in, but they don't let you do it full screen. There you go. Yeah. So.
Okay, and then you wanted to read from page
5.
Okay, so go ahead, brother.
This is from page chapter 1. So Yahya ibn Ibrahim, the great chief of the Sanhaja Confederation of the tribes of the Western Sahara, had made his pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca, along with other Sanhaja chiefs. After 3 years of journeying, he was now returning home. His commitment to Islam was greater than his understanding of it. And this was in the year 1038 AD. This is the first page of the.
Hold on. Oh, you're reading from page 1. Okay,
Page
okay,
1,
yes,
yes.
okay. I got you. Okay.
So now I'm going on to page. Just for the sake, I guess for the sake of time, I'm going on to page 5, because what happened was, I mean, you guys could look it up for yourself. But as he was returning home from his pilgrimage to the Mecca, he met up with a religious leader named Abdallah bin Yassin, who was from the western part of Morocco, around that area. And so what they did was, let me see if I can find it. They recruited. They both went down to and I'm gonna go back to like the second page, where the map is. They both went down, I think, from Siljamasa into the Yahya ibn Ibrahim's homeland, which was around, in the Lamtuna and the Gudala territories. I think it was up around the Lamtuna territories, and they went down south to recruit more from the Gudala. And on their conquest, they actually took over the Sahara trade net. They took over the Sahara trade network from the Kingdom of Ghana, which the capital, as you can see, like right above where it says Gudala, the capital was Agdaghust. So they basically that was part of their conquest, and they cut off the trade network from the Empire of Ghana, the Saharan trade network, and they worked their way actually. So, and after they cut off the network, that network, they recruited a lot of people from like Senegal and the neighboring southern regions, and they went all the way. In their conquest, they conquered. They went north to subdue the remaining Sanhaja. The people who basically like were going against them, or were the dissenting tribes, and they went all the way up to Morocco, conquered Siljamasa, and Ibrahim and Yassin, Abdallah bin Yassin, actually founded Marrakesh, which is actually the capital of Morocco to this day. And from there they actually made their conquest into Spain and conquered half of Spain. So I just wanted to point that out. I feel as if it's a point in history that's actually not talked about that much, and it's actually in relation to the Nation of Islam, and especially in relation to the Nation of Islam. And another fun fact is, like, this empire, I think it lasted 100 years, but there were like more empires that rose up in its place from similar origins. And in 1492, that was I think around 1492, that was the same year that all of the Islamic peoples were expelled from Spain. And that was when Columbus's conquest began. So, it's worth noting, how history connects, and also when they try to say that, like, Africa or African Americans or West Africans didn't have a lot of like, we didn't have writing. A lot of that is false, because a lot of the writing, like you said, came from secret societies, like the Viscript. And there was actually a man named I forgot his name, Bukwale, and he actually decided to um, create a like kind of like reconstruct the script and make it available to the public. And this was, I think, in the 19th century, maybe in the mid 19th century. And he was, he was from Africa, but he actually ended up getting killed, because they didn't want to release the information. So a lot of the writing is a product of a lot of the different secret societies in Africa. And because the continent is so diverse, that's what kind of prevented, in my opinion, estimation, it prevented the kind of like the cooperation, the widespread cooperation, and that it took to kind of develop technology, as well as because if you look at Europe, there's only like it's like especially Western Europe, a lot of languages under the origin of Latin, and a lot of it falls under the
Yeah, Greek, Latin, Anglo-Saxon, Latin languages. Yes.
so it's easier to it's just easy to it's way easier to collaborate with people where you share our common language of origin, where in Africa there's like 50,000 different dialects. So
and indeed they were able to well, first they were on the same page. They were on board in attacking other people. We all know about the scramble for Africa in 1884/1885. They got together and they said, okay, you take this part, I take that part, and so on. Belgium happened to get a territory 80 times its size. The Democratic Republic of Congo is 80 times larger than the Congo, and at the time there was a rubber which was being used for tires, so it was in great demand. And there's a documentary called I think it's called White King, Red Rubber, Black Death, or something like that. So it's available online. And those people, because they were not being attacked on a constant, and those people, I mean those Europeans, they were not being attacked on a regular basis, so they had time to work on the technology and commerce and industrial revolution and whatnot. So it is a fact indeed. It is a fact indeed. They had a great head start or kickstart.
Because there was iron in West Africa, before Stonehenge. I mean, there's I mean, I don't have the exact sources, but there's definitely if you look into the whole history of I guess like the Igbo spirituality and cosmology, and how I guess the class of Osu got alienated from the rest of the indigenous people, kind of like as an alienated class. And I think I gave you the guys the brothers source, the Medicine Show. He talks about how basically these secret societies who created like the metalworking kind of took over the spiritual class, like they took over as the dominant hegemonic group, from the spiritual priesthood in that certain area, in the Ifa, I guess, spirituality. So there's a lot to explore, and I think that people are just so I guess indoctrinated into this idea that Africa was always primitive, that they never take the time to kind of explore it, or verify if that was the case.
Well, actually, you might have heard about that, but we have some eyewitness accounts, and I think they went to the kingdom of the Congo. Usually is spelled Kongo, and that kingdom will be not just the Congo as we know it now. As we know it's the Congo, we have the um, Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC, and we have the Congo period. or Congo period, not necessarily the Congo, but Congo. And usually people, or at least French speakers, or Congolese people, they will say Congo Brazza, which stands for Brazzaville, the capital of the small Congo. It's called, well, people nickname it the small Congo because it is much smaller in size. And then we have the Congo Kin, which is short for Congo Kinshasa, and Kinshasa being, of course, the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo, which at one point was called Zaire, was renamed by Mobutu.
Right.
Um, sorry about this. So I think, and the Kingdom of the Congo, we can say it was part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, part of the small Congo, part hold on, please, hold on. And parts of Angola as well. Parts of Angola as well. So the eyewitness account, now I don't remember the name of the person, but it's very known. It's very known. He was describing the streets, the system, the society, and he described it as something very, very modern.
Yeah.
Very modern, very organized. And those are the kind of descriptions that we don't really hear too much about,
Right.
rather talk. And this time period, I think, I wish I would know. I wish I knew the name of that person who went and described what he saw. But because I want to know the time period, I'm wondering if he was in the 1300 or something. But maybe ultimately somebody might have the name of that person and put it in the chat, or maybe call in and say. But there are some accounts in the eyewitness account of how the society was, and it was I think it's before the transatlantic slave trade. I think it might have been shortly before, so maybe it was 1300, 1400, something like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, it's definitely a anomaly. But I gotta get out of here. But thanks for having me, man. And look forward to talking to you in the future. Definitely.
Thank you very much for calling. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Hotel.
Peace.
All right. So feel free to call in, brothers, if you want to add on to the discussion. I mean, I could bring it to an end, but might as well wait a little bit to see if anybody else wants to call in. Well, you know what? I might as well look for this eyewitness account. I think it was someone from Portugal. So apparently, yes, it will be around 1300. Um, and it would have been a Portuguese. Well, let's check. I'm looking for a name. I might not be able to find one now. But anyway. Okay, well, I'll wait a few minutes and see, but it looks like people are tired now or busy, so it's not really popping now. There's not much activity going on in the chat, but just in case if somebody wants to call in, I'm about to share the invite link again. Invite link. Oh, Rick Darula. Hey, how you doing, brother?
How's it going, brother?
Doing great. Thanks for calling.
Hey, I appreciate your show.
Thank you.
Hey, I got a few questions. Okay, I'm trying to throw all on you at the kind of like the same time. And if you could tell me
one at a time, that would be better.
no, well, it's like it's all pertaining to the same thing. So it ain't really questions. It's more like it's more like the question that was asked earlier about us being here first. You know, black people, the so-called Indians.
Yes.
Okay. And maybe you can, shed some light, educate me a little bit. Okay. Um, as far as slavery goes and the slave trade and all that, I'm kind of like on a fence with it. I don't know if it's 100% true. I do believe United States and all that did, did the slavery, but as intense as it's portrayed, I don't believe it. And the reason why is, first of all, like I tell other people, if you come to a new country, a new land, and you got people all around, right? Why would you go out your way to go travel 3 months to another shore just to enslave people when you already got people around, which is the so-called Indians? So I guess I'll lay them on you, one at a time. I mean, in your opinion, does that make any sense?
Well, actually, if I understand correctly what you're saying, you're talking about those people in America, and instead of using the Native Americans, or yes, the Native Americans, then they will go all the way to Africa to get some workers. Well, it is usually said that the Native American population was kind of decimated, and that by the presence of those Europeans alone, there was some disease. There's this often talked about issue of the smallpox, the gift of blankets of whatever it was to Native Americans, and it was infested with smallpox. So there is also some insight in terms of history in that movie with Gérard Depardieu, a French actor. There was that movie called, I think it was called 1942. I'm sorry, 1942. 1492. Sorry.
Okay. Right.
About Christopher Columbus, and in that movie we can kind of see how the Native Americans were, well, just like the enslaved Africans were greatly mistreated. So it is often said that the Native Americans could not take the heat, or could not take the suffering, the very hard labor. So there's a combination of illness, um, people dying off, and I think probably Fairby would have fled because they are on their territory, so they probably knew where to go and where to hide. But I think they went to get people because they needed labor on a large scale, and that's what I would say. Yes, without being long-winded.
Okay, but now let it make a little bit of sense though. Okay, you're talking about building a ship, and which costs money, and labor to build, and you also talking about housing water, 3 months in the sea, 3 months to get there, so you got to somehow store water for 3 months, not just for you and your crew, but the package that you bringing back. Okay, and you also talking about food. I think I heard somebody said, well, they ate what do you call it? I can't, like beef jerky. They had like beef jerky, and that's how they live. Which, to me, that's nonsense. You need more protein than just that. So you're talking 3 months one way, 3 months the other way, and somehow you got enough food and water to supply yourself to get there, and you got all this other cargo, which is humans, and of course you don't want your cargo to go to waste. So they saying that they store black people and Africans on top of one another and do them overseas and everything else. To me, that's nonsense, because think about yourself. Put yourself in that ship. You went all out your way to build this craft, hire these people, somehow store water for 3 months and food for 3 months to get there. And by the time you get there, you're going to sacrifice your packages, which is the humans. You're going to sacrifice your packages and bring them back. The more you bring back, the better your pocket. The more you allow them to get diseases and throw them overboard and all the other nonsense, you're losing out. So you got to think like a businessman. Business-wise, that's not smart. And also, business-wise, how could you make this trip? You can't drink seawater. How could you make it there on just fresh water? You will run out.
Well,
So,
mhm.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, I don't agree that they will run out. They will have stock. You see, they will have a supply of food and water sufficient for them to last during that trip. You see.
3 months.
Well, yes. So, I mean, what we could do, I guess, is ask some specialists about navigation, about the sea, and ask them, was it possible then to make a trip for 3 months and have enough water supply? And I really don't think it's an issue. I think it's nothing impossible at all. You see,
But you
but
can't compare today to back then. Because see, you think about refrigeration
yes,
today.
that's why. Water doesn't need refrigeration.
Right. I'm talking about the food.
Yes. Well, the food is like you have many parts of where you have tropical countries or tropical weather countries where there's tropical weather. A
Right.
lot of time in villages, they don't really have a refrigeration. They don't even have electricity. I mean, I went to Haiti, in countryside and villages. There's no electricity over there, so the people will use food that can be preserved without refrigeration. Food like with grains. And I'm not really an expert when it comes to food. I love to eat it, but I'm not very good with the different names and so on. But cereals or grains, mainly food with grains. There's a lot of food that can be preserved for months
Okay.
without any form of refrigeration. So I don't expect that they were eating meat. I think they were eating other stuff. You see.
Right. Okay.
But
Well, let me throw another one at you then.
mhm.
You said when the Europeans came over to the United States, of course, I always hear this. They brought diseases and it killed the Indians up. Okay, to me, that sounds like nonsense because, first of all,
But
the
hold on.
diseases.
Just
Okay.
want to say, I'm not saying they killed them all off. You know,
Mhm.
I'm not saying that.
No,
Yes,
I'm
but
saying I hear that, not
yes.
just through you. I
Okay.
hear
Yes.
that a lot.
Yes.
That's
Hmm.
one of the, you know, things people say when I was the
Hmm.
question about this. And my thing is this: diseases go both ways.
Hmm.
So yeah, you could come over and bring whatever you got to affect me, but then you also come into my land, which could affect you. And being as it may, I'm the melanated. You're not. So being black, because I do believe they were black people. I do not believe they was these Mexican looking people with straight hair. I do believe they was people that look just like me and you. Um, so like I said, it's yeah, they said that yeah, you come over here with diseases and that affected them, even though we love the ground, black people love the ground, we know how to create medicine. This is something that we are natural at, so we're gonna find a way to deflect it. You coming here and you trying to say that our diseases is not going to kill you off, but your diseases is going to kill us off. Does that make any sense?
Hmm. Well, the thing is that, is there any evidence that the Indians, oh, I'm sorry, the Native Americans had some disease?
Well, this one said this
Because
is one of
because
the
mm, mm,
conversation pieces.
because one thing that is very known when it comes to
Mm,
the Europeans at that time back then, is that they were not very great with hygiene. So
right.
when people are immune, they live in that environment, they live under those conditions, and with this poor hygiene, so therefore they will get used to it, almost to the point of becoming immune. But then again, once again, in contact with other people, the other people will react differently. You see, um, so I never heard about the possibility of um, Native Americans having some sort of disease or infections that they could pass on to the Europeans that will affect the Europeans.
Right.
Now, they might have been affected by that different climate and weather, and this is one of the argument as well, or one of the motivation for them to go and take people from Africa, because, as it is said oftentimes, the first people that they were sending over there in the New World were convicts, prisoners, and things of that matter,
Right.
uh, and those people couldn't stand the actual weather, so they figured, okay, well, those people in Africa, they live in that weather, so it shouldn't be an issue to them. You see, so yes, that's regarding the actual issue of the disease. Now, I've watched a documentary once, but it was years ago, so I don't remember it. But it was not about America; it was about Africa, and it was about some Europeans who went there for whatever reason, and they were showing how, with that tropical weather, and also the different disease that you disease infections like malaria, you know, how they will suffer from it. But the locals, they were good with it, they were comfortable with it because it's their habitat, it's their environment. So
Right.
that needs to be taken into account as well. But
Okay.
when you say that you feel like the Native Americans look like you and me, what makes you say so? Because you said, I believe they look like us. What makes you
Bec-
say so?
okay. Well, as a kid, I used to start questioning. Like the age of 10. I started questioning. A lot of it just don't add up. And usually, when you got 2 plus 2 and you coming up with 3 or 5, then something's wrong. You know. Um, so I had these questions, and as time I got older, I was asked questions. I also get simple answers. Nobody can ever give me a straight answer, like to the first two I just asked you, right? So I'm about to lay the third one on you. This one say is a belief. I believe it pretty much to the letter that you know we this thing come from Africa and they because like I said that don't make sense. Throwing people overboard and all that don't make sense. I heard what you said about the food and the water supply. I don't see how that's going to happen. Back then, three like I said, 3 months on the wall, and then you gotta create, you gotta build this boat. You gotta hire these people on to execute this long trip when you already got human beings sitting right there. And you could try to say, well, people say, well, they couldn't stand the heat or whatever. They couldn't do the work. They've been here. Why couldn't they stand the work? You know, we build great things. We build pyramids and everything. So why we couldn't do the work? So that's why I don't believe it. So but anyway, that's two. But the third one is
But before you go on
okay.
to the third
Okay.
one, before you go on to the third one, you said we built pyramids, we did this, but you're going from the assumption that those people were us, but that has
Yes.
not been established so far.
Well, okay. Let me back up. I'm saying this. I'm saying before Caucasians, however they got here, okay, we traveled, we sailed, That's why I think anytime you look at the original people on any continent, they dark skinned because we already traveled. And when we landed, we already started building up. Somehow Europeans came about, created, I don't know how they came, Neanderthals or whatever. I don't know what caused them to be created, but they was. But we was already here. But our originality, I believe, was the African continent. Okay. But I do believe
But
okay.
what makes you say, and sorry to interrupt you, but what makes you say that we were already here? What is it based on?
Well, we had the discussion yesterday about I think we did, about the armadillo heads being found everywhere that looks like me and you, the big noses, big lips, the broad face and everything else is planted all over the world pretty much. You can find these armadillo heads.
All over the world, I don't know, but the Olmec heads, they appear as if they have Negroid features, but I think really that if you put someone like a Samoan, like there's that movie I don't know how they call it, but it's the Fast and Furious franchise. Actually, it's Hobbs and Shaw with the Rock and Jason Statham. And towards the end of the movie, The Rock goes to his family, and we can look at his family members, and these kind of phenotype people from Hawaii, Tahiti. And I think that if someone will make a statue of their face, then they will have broad nose and thicker lips than the Europeans.
But that's later on. So you're looking at
what is later on?
Well, this is somehow how I hate to say mutation, but somehow our physical form.
I understand. I understand. But you see, the point here is that I'm just trying to say that if someone takes someone from Hawaii and makes a sculpture out of him, then the phenotype, we won't have any indication of the shade or the skin tone, but the phenotype, the nose will be broad, the lips will be thick, so it could be just that, you see. And
okay, let me I got one for you then. If you were to take
I'm sorry, before you put that one in, we have some paintings, we have some representation of people of the Mayans, the Aztecs, and when we look at them, they don't look Negroid, they don't look Black Africans, or they don't look, let's say, black. They look more like the same people that we see, like Native Americans, people that we can find also in Canada and so on. But keep going, please.
Okay, but you're still talking about later on. So you're going back to the most recent, but you got to go back further. This is what I'm saying. You can't go back like 1,000 years or 2,000 years ago. I'm talking about a little further back than that. And when
where are they? Where are they? Those people further back, where are they?
Well,
besides the Olmec head that can be disputed, where are they? When can we see their depictions? How can we know those were Black people?
Because that's us. The changeover. Okay,
you're making a conclusion without any evidence.
Yeah. Right. Well, true. Well, that's pretty much what we all do to some degree. We all, everything that's written, we go on by somebody else's handwriting. So we all making our judgment, no matter how you flip it. But let me say this: like right now, if I were to get one of those Amalek heads, right, and let's say there's a crime scene, and they said that the person they got this picture of the person, of the Amalek head, and they got a picture of, they say it's you, and they say it's Brad Pitt. Okay, who do you think they're gonna say the person that did the crime that fits the face of the Amalek head? You or Brad Pitt?
Don't really get the question there.
Okay.
If there's a crime,
If there's a crime
yes,
and somebody took a picture of the omelet head, right?
yeah,
And they said, this is the,
Olmec, yeah,
yeah.
Olmec,
And they
yes.
said, this is the person that did the crime, right? This is a picture of it. And they said they got two physical bodies. You're one of the bodies, and let's say Brad Pitt is another physical body. Who are the jury going to say that picture more resembles? You or Brad Pitt?
Oh, okay. The jury will say that the Olmec head looks more like me than Brad Pitt.
Then that kills the conclusion that it could be because it leans more towards us.
Yes, but then again, if you put someone from Hawaii, you can ask the same question with the same analogy.
But you're
Will
still going
someone,
back
will
3,000
someone,
years ago.
yes, but will someone from Hawaii will look more like me or and you than
Hmm.
Brad Pitt
Right.
or any other people of that stock.
I
So
agree.
and that's my point, really. That's my point, because we focus so much on the Olmec heads, but we have actually paintings,
Mm.
we have actually. And I mean, I could go on Google image and show some, but I like to use reputable websites that are uh, um, um, reliable reliable. But
Right.
I've seen, and I'm sure many people have seen depictions of people from those areas.
Now,
Like, for example, those who make the sacrifices and so on, on the step pyramid or whatever it's called.
right.
But the things that do you actually don't believe that the Europeans came to the
No,
Americas?
it's nothing. A lot of things just doesn't add up. Okay, well, another thing, for example, is if you look around today, if you go in the woods, you going to, a forest or abandoned area, we're gonna find soda bottles and cans, right? Pepsi cans, Coca-Cola cans, right in the dirt, whatever, scattered out, right? Because it takes a while for it to deteriorate.
Hmm.
Okay, and we can go back. So let's say right now, 100 years from now, people will still be able to find these broke up bottles and soda cans, in the
Yeah.
woods, wherever.
Hmm.
Okay, so if we was in so much bondage for
Hmm.
400 years,
Yeah.
which means there's shackles everywhere, they should be scattered out throughout the United States. And I used to do construction for a while, and I've
Hmm.
been from the East Coast to the South. Okay, I haven't, nor do I know anybody today claim that they found slave shackles. I haven't met
Well,
nobody.
well,
I
well.
haven't seen it.
Mm,
And I used to do construction where we doing the foundation,
mhm.
bulldozer, whatever. Never came across none. But now the United States was full of slaves. Where are
Mm,
the shackles?
mm.
Where are
Well,
the chains?
I like this question, but from what I've read about the transatlantic slave trade, I never came across any text or testimony or eyewitness account that all the slaves working on the plantation had chains on or shackles. Now, the chains and the shackles, that will be when the people that they enslaved were captured.
Hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that they reused those chains and shackles. But from what we know, from what we can tell, they were on the plantation. You had a few people, overseers or guards or whatever you want to call them, those who
Hmm.
have weapons. And because of all the trauma of the travel, the superiority with weapons, unfortunately, it took only a few people to be able to control a lot of enslaved individuals. However, we still have some chains and shackles. We can find some in different museums.
Yeah,
Yes, I've seen some myself, but I
but
don't. For us to expect to find shackles like on the ground everywhere we dig, I really don't think so. And I think also they probably reuse some of the iron or steel that they could
mm,
find, but
mm,
I don't think that we can even. I mean, we can all learn every day, but somebody will have to bring me an eyewitness account saying, well, on this plantation, they all wear shackles and chains. They used to pick cotton, tobacco, and sugar cane, and so on. So it would be more efficient if they don't have shackles and chains. They will be more effective, more productive, and therefore bring more money.
Right. But brother, think about this. There was still shackles and chains were still used. Regardless to what, it was still used across the United. And then when you just say plantations, you just can't say you put in all the shackles and chains in just one area. And you're trying to pinpoint it. It has to be on when they're doing work. If it's not there, then it doesn't exist. It's going to be everywhere. Just like the soda bottles and cans, it's going to be everywhere. So shackles for 400 years is going to be everywhere, and you ain't gonna be able to keep up with
Well,
all of it. So we talk.
that's what you're saying. According to you, it should be
No,
everywhere.
but let's use let's use common sense. Let's try common sense. We're talking 400 years of
Okay.
constantly
Can,
shackling and
can,
unchaining humans.
can,
At
can
some point, you're going to lose track of it, and it's going to get in the ground, right?
Well, can I make an analogy similar to yours?
Okay.
Guns have been in use in America. Guns have been in use in America for hundreds of years. And to me, this is just an example, an analogy. It's like me saying, well, since in America people use gun all the time, when I walk on the street, I should find bullet cartridges everywhere. They get picked up. They get taken somewhere else. It gets, the material gets reused and so on. You know, I really don't think that this argument is holds weight. You know.
Okay, well, let me throw another one at you then. Let me throw another one at you then.
Mhm,
You said don't hold weight. Let me throw another one at you.
mhm,
That is just like, okay, we don't know how long the so-called Indians been here in the United States or
mhm,
Turtle Island or whatever it used to be called, right?
mhm,
But now, like I said, I lived in South Carolina. I lived in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm
yeah.
from Brooklyn, New York. Okay, my grandmother is from South Carolina. She used to be in the fields. This is
Mhm,
where my mind started wondering, where's this and that at?
mhm,
Okay, so if we don't know how long the Indians been here. Once again, to this day, where are the cemeteries? I can show you all of the white cemeteries. I can show you all of the black cemeteries. Up and down the East Coast, hold up, this up and down the East Coast. But yet to this day, since the Indians been here before everybody else, they should have graves scattered. Once again, should be up and down, not just in the East Coast, on the West Coast. Should be everywhere. You should see slavery. I mean, Indian graves, Indian graves. I haven't seen none. All I
mhm,
see blacks and I
mhm,
see white.
mhm,
And the reason, and then another thing, you hear a lot of black people, my grandmother, then my grandparents, I hear other people, grandparents say that they are Cherokee Indian, they Bigfoot, and all this. You always hear that they always say they're some kind of tribe, but they will never say that they are African.
mhm.
It's just too much stuff that does not add up.
Mhm.
Now,
Well,
can
well,
can you can you agree with the grave thing? Can you agree that there should be graves
well,
scattered?
Well, I don't agree because first I thought you were talking about the enslaved Africans, and I was about to tell you that they would do they will have mass graves basically, and I think
Right.
it was reported that about the White House.
Mm.
Around the vicinity of the White House, they found some remains, so they came to the conclusion that it was most likely slaves. Some people said that even in the White House, at some point, some slaves were being sold.
So
No,
in New York too. New York too.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
and but you were actually talking about the Indians, not the
Right.
enslaved Africans, right? So,
Right.
like I was saying, I really don't think. Well, I did not say it, but I think that there was a combination of disease, people being mistreated and killed. So I probably they left. Now I'm not an expert on that, you know, but I think probably they left. They did not just stay there. For those who could just run away, but for those who were killed, I really don't expect those European navigators or colonizers to 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 uh, uh I'm sorry, I really don't expect those European colonizers to just build graves for these native Americans. I think they would just kill them and just, you know, bury them or maybe burn them, but it's probably, you know, I don't expect them to build graves for them, you see.
No, no,
And
no.
now
But see,
yes, and As
But
for
you
the
still
black
you still
people,
doing the same. But you
but
see what
but,
you're
but,
doing. You
but,
still
okay, okay.
okay.
Just please let me just say
Okay.
about the black people claim to have Cherokee and so on. This is something known. A lot of black people, because of the portrayal of Africans, they went a great they went at great length to deny their Africanness, to deny that their origin is Africa. So that's the reason why you have a lot of people who say, well, we are Cherokee, we're this and that. But don't you find it strange, however, that there is no remnants of those Native American words in the vernacular of African Americans? If we're descendants or if we're already in America, those people had a language before English. How come we don't find any remnants of that? You see, but in the oral tradition of black people and even African Americans,
Mm.
yeah, people will say that this is where we come from. And
Right.
Haiti is one example. Haiti managed to get the freedom, and throughout the history of Haiti, it is known that ever no Haitian will say we were there. You know,
Mm.
they came there and they met the Arawak people. Now, the Arawak people, that's a great example. You know, those people are documented. Some people went and saw those people, but they were almost decimated. You see, and
Right.
I think the difficulty is that when we talk about Native Americans, there were several different tribes. You see, but the Arawak, um, we don't find so many. But please go on, brother.
No, but see this like what you just said. Why don't we speak the native tongue, right?
Mm.
But then
Oh,
you
not just fluently, but at
mm,
least a few words here and
right.
there.
Right, but then you're talking about a 400-year gap where they told you that I'm going to change your name and I'm going to strip your language from you. I'm going to teach you English. I'm going to teach you my language, and I want you to forget yours. So just imagine all of the grandparents back then when they first came and colonized. The grandparents faded away, and we had to learn a new language and a new name. So all that's been stripped away. Okay, but
And I, and,
now.
I- and I'm so glad you're saying that, brother, because if you say that, it will mean that the European colonizers enslaved every Native Americans, which is very unlikely to me. You see,
Why?
well, because for example, you have are they called Gula?
Gullah.
Gullah. The Gullah, they are known to have at one point managed to be by themselves on their own.
Mm,
And in
not true. Not true.
well,
I
okay,
lived, brother. I lived in Charleston. Because I'm trying to tell you, I lived in Charleston, South Carolina. You know,
okay.
uh, uh,
Well,
and other than
okay,
Brooklyn,
okay.
Charleston was the first, the highest when it's coming to slavery. Brooklyn was the second highest when it's coming to slavery. My people from South Carolina, my mother's side is Gullah. Is what I'm trying to explain. And like I said, I haven't yet to this day. You like we was talking about the graves. You saying, well, when the colonizers came, they didn't put the bodies, and but then I'm saying, see, you got to go back further. Before the colonizers came, the so-called Indians had cemeteries. So I'm talking about back then when they had their cemeteries. Where are these cemeteries at? Because they should be scattered across the United States.
Well, okay. Let's presume that it's not true for the Gula, even though I'm pretty confident that many people will disagree. And we have some descendants of the Gula today. Now, in you had the Maroons, you had them in Jamaica, for example. Nani or Nana is a great. When she's known one of the most famous name of these runaway slaves. And in Brazil, you had the Quilombo, you had Zumbi dos Palmares, and I forgot if the name is Ganga Zang. I forgot the name of the other one, but you have Zumbi dos Palmares. You have a movie called Quilombo. I think it's available online, maybe on YouTube. So he had some people who managed to establish some sort of independence, not to say government. So for you to say, okay, the reason why African Americans don't speak the Native American language is because the Europeans came and prevented us from using our language, it will
Mm,
imply that the European colonizers captured and enslaved all Native Americans, and it's definitely unlikely. Those people did not know the territory, and even though they were superior in terms of weaponry, they most likely couldn't have been able to capture everywhere all around America. I mean, how long did it take for America to develop as a country, as they will reach different parts that they never knew about before? They only knew certain parts, and it took decades, if not a few hundred, well, let's say decades, for them to basically expand and grow and reach other areas. You see, I
Mm,
mean, and so really, you don't deny that Europeans went to the Americas. What you seem to deny is that they brought Africans to the Americas, right? Am I correct?
right,
Now, do you feel like they didn't bring any Africans at all? They just brought a few.
right. And let me throw something else at you. Another thing at you. I see. I'm the type. I need proof. I just don't want to believe something that's written inside of a textbook. Okay,
But
because anybody can write any.
do you have proof for the Native Americans
Well,
in
I
black?
got me right here. This is the proof. But I also got proof of this. If you can't provide proof, then that's the proof. Okay. If you can't provide proof, then that's the proof. Now, once again, in South Carolina and up the East Coast, okay, they got tours where you can see the slave market. They got this thing called the slave market. Is in Charleston. They show you where the people came off the ship and blah 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 blah, blah, right? Okay, so they got this. They got the museum and everything else there. But now, and I've seen people did tours all around. But then now all these slave ships, big and small, because you got to figure when you got a business, human body is more profitable than gold. You know, so you're gonna have a whole bunch of businesses getting in on it, okay? Which means you're gonna have big businesses and you're gonna have little small companies. We're gonna build ourselves a ship. We're gonna go capture some niggas, okay, and bring them back here. Even if it's 10, that's profitable. Okay. Now, once again, if there's no proof, then that's the proof. Where are the slave ships? I haven't seen one to this day, not even on a tour. Nowhere in South Carolina is there a slave ship. Nowhere in New York there's a slave ship. If you ask anybody on the East Coast, I mean on the West Coast, there is no slave ships. Where are all of the slave ships, big and small? There is none.
Well, and this is not being condescending towards you
Okay.
or disrespectful.
No,
It's about
go for it, brother.
it's about the argument,
Okay.
and I feel like it doesn't hold weight because yourself you agree that Europeans went to the Americas, and I could ask the same thing about the Europeans. Where are the slave ships that brought the Europeans over here? You see,
Right.
if we invalidate Africans getting to America because of the lack of slave ships, then we should invalidate Europeans getting to the Americas because of the lack of the slave ships. However, the different answers or hypotheses that I could give is that, well, first of all, it was very old, very ancient. So most likely he had rotten and basically I don't want to say disintegrated, but um if if it's not being taken
All
care
of them,
of,
brother.
uh
All of them.
well, not all of them. I think now
You're
I'm
gonna be
not
shocked, right?
the things that I'm not really sure. I haven't really gone to. I went to one slave museum. I don't recall if they had some part of.
Museum.
Yes, yes. I actually went where they took Toussaint Louverture. They tricked him and they took him to France in the
Mm,
mountain where it's very cold. So I saw some of these slavery, uh, um, should I say, artifact or tools. I don't remember if they had parts of a slave ship. It's possible, but I really don't recall. But it's possible that there are some museums where they have some remains of it. But most likely, they will have used whatever they could at the time. You see, so if there's a way for them to convert the wood from the ship to do something else, then most likely they would have done it. It wouldn't be impossible that when the ships were being caught because England decided to abolish the slave trade, so it wouldn't be impossible that they will destroy some of the ships as well. But no matter what I will say, some people will have an issue and say, well, all of them, it doesn't make sense. And that's why this main counter argument of mine is, if we invalidate Africans getting to the America because of the lack of slave ship, then we have to invalidate the Europeans. So how did the Europeans get there? They got there on ships as well. You see, what would you
Right.
say? What would you say? How did the Europeans get there? Didn't they get there on ship?
Well, yes, I believe so. But you know,
Have you seen the ships that brought the Europeans over?
well, hold up. So you're talking about the Nina, the Pita, and the Santa Maria, or whatever they call it. You're talking three. You're talking three ships in comparison to. There's supposed to be hundreds of, at least thousands of slave ships, thousands. So
Not
you can't
necessarily.
compare.
Not
Hold on,
necessarily.
brother.
Not
You can't
necessarily.
compare. You trying to tell me I should be able to find three ships, the Nina, the Mita, and the Penta, the Ria, or however they call it. But now, when it's coming to slave ships, there was thousands of them because they brought back millions of humans from Africa. Which and like I said, when there's big ships, there should be.
However, I don't know if it was thousands.
Okay, well, we're talking 400-year span now, so it had to have been a good bit amount of slave ships. We can't be three or four that lasted 400 years because everybody was in on it, the big and small companies. So I'm saying this here: if you got thousands of slave ships, I haven't seen one to this day. Now, if this thing really did exist, why haven't yet today have I seen one? Like I said, along with the shackles, I haven't seen none. It doesn't make sense to even go over there when you already got humans over here that you can enslave. And then people, like you just said, try to throw the argument, well, they brought diseases. Well, diseases go back both ways. White people was more likely to die from a disease than black people. So the darker the skin, the stronger you are inside. So that's killed. And once again, then, like I said, along with that is the cemeteries. There should be cemeteries everywhere. There should be a whole bunch of Indian cemeteries. I haven't seen them. If there's no proof, then that's the proof.
And you know, I want to have a quick look as you were talking, but regarding the cemeteries, I've stated my opinions that they will not give them burials with graves and with their names on it. They'll just bury them.
Right.
That's how I feel. But
Shallow
regarding
graves.
the slave ships, some have been found. Some have been found. They are in the water, and it will cost a great deal to bring them up. Why would they bring them up? That will only highlight the crime, the genocide. You see, like the Titanic. Nobody brings it back up. You see, and that was the aristocracy. There was the wealthiest, some of the wealthiest people at the time. Why would they just make effort to bring up some pieces of wood and other remains from boats that took enslaved Africans to the Americas so that they could work on plantation? I don't see why
But
they
they
would
have
do that.
tried. Didn't they try to bring up the Titanic a couple years ago? A few years ago. They have
I don't know.
tried.
I don't know if they tried. I think they went there. I mean,
No,
they
they
sent machines to film
right.
and see. I really don't think they tried to bring it up. But if they did try, that's one ship. But then
Mm.
again, once again, the Titanic, with the social status of the people who were on it and the historical significance of the Titanic is one thing. But those ships, they brought people who are mainly anonymous, even though they gave them names, they were not their original names. And once again, it highlights a crime committed, you see. But
They don't care about that. They don't
okay,
care
so,
about
all
highlight of
right.
crime.
Okay, so uh, if we should say no Africans were brought over to the Americas because there's no ships, then what about the Europeans? What do we do with them? Because as you say, and actually you are right, there were thousands. Apparently there were thousands, because I was saying I'm not sure there were thousands, but yes, there were thousands. So what I guess I was thinking about at one time, I did not think that at one time, not one point in time, we will have thousands, but in total there were thousands actually.
Right, right.
What I read quickly, but now, um, do you think that there will be only three ships to bring the Europeans over hundreds of years?
I'm
Over,
saying this, that there wasn't even close to the number of slave ships. I'm saying you can't compare one to the others, like having $1 bill to $100 bill. You can't compare the two. Okay, that's what I'm saying, because like I said, we're talking about something that's profiting money in comparison to people that just want to travel and get away. You know, put yourself back then. Put yourself in the white man's shoes. Okay, 300 years ago, if you yourself could have built a ship and go get yourself some black people to work for you for free, where you can live it up for the rest of your life, you're trying to tell me you wouldn't do it if you got that kind of evil mindset? Okay, so if there's big businesses once again that was doing that, why wouldn't the little man do it? I know I would have if I had that kind of evil mind
Who,
to
who,
think
who,
like that.
who do you mean when you say the middleman?
Well, the small people, like let's say me and you, we're the average working person back then, 300 years
Oh,
ago, right?
okay. I understand now. Well,
Right,
really,
right,
in hoods, in streets, where people are selling whatever they sell, let's say drugs. If you just go to a corner and you want to set up shop, you're gonna go. They're not gonna allow that. So I don't see how they have a business booming, and they would just allow anybody to just do the same thing. They're not gonna have that. They're not gonna
Okay,
have
then
that.
once again, where's the ships then? Then where's the big ships?
Well,
Tell me, you tell me where one is at right now. I'd like to go to it. One slave ship. I'm asking you for one. Just one out of the thousand. Just give me one right now to go see it. Matter of fact, give me one cemetery, one Indian cemetery somewhere up and down the East Coast. Just give me
No,
one cemetery.
no. The Indian cemetery, that's for your premise. My premise is not that those people who were enslaved were Native Americans. I mean, first they started, but it was mainly Africans. So for that, I could not be able to answer. Now, I don't know where to direct you to any slave ship, really. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure in museums, we might not have a full one, but we have some part of it. And I mean, I can have a look quickly on the video where I went to that slavery museum and see if there is some remnant of a slave ship, but I'm not sure because it was not really my main interest. But
Right.
I could have a quick look. As a matter of fact, I might as well share the video so we can have a look together. So we
Okay.
will see a few things. So let me just look for the video now. Oh, live stream. Um, oh snap! Is it not there? I have the video somewhere, so it might be on some of my USB drive. Non, j'ai pas fini. Just one moment, please. Um, I'm gonna check, but I should have it. Oh, okay. Maybe I know where it is actually. Uh, maybe it might be there. No, not in this one. Okay, I'll find it. I'll find it. It'd be good for people to see a few things. It's not a lot because it's more centered around Toussaint Louverture, but we will see a thing or two. Not this one here. Oh, okay, no, that one here. So every time you look for something, that's where you don't.
Right, right. But when
It's
you don't
all
want to find it, there it is. It
not,
pops up.
not long ago. I saw that video, and actually, it's one of the video I was thinking about sharing.
Right.
It will not be there, I'm sure. Oh, there it is. I've put it. Okay, here it is. Let me put it on my desktop. Now we'll share it. Now I hope it's in the right format. I think it will not play. I will have to convert it. I might have it on my website, so on my YouTube, I mean. So let me look for it. It might be uploaded on YouTube. It was at one point. Right, it is. So I will share directly. Okay. So now let me share the screen. Get rid of this advert. And then share the screen. I don't need the audio, but I'll put it still. And I mute it. So this is the place where they took Toussaint Louverture. It's called Fort de Joux. Oh, okay. This is an abridged video. I had one that was long, but
Okay.
like an hour long. But those here. It's about Toussaint Louverture. That we might have a few of his belongings and maybe some things that he signed himself. Oh, maybe I titled it Slavery Museum. Let me look for it. Hold on. I will open another page. I have too many videos, so I don't even know the name of. I have hundreds of videos, literally. So slavery. About that. But I know I have it somewhere. So when I find it, this is the place where Toussaint Louverture actually died. This is his cell.
Okay.
But during that trip, I went to a museum, slavery museum. Well, I have to give up because I don't know where that video is. I have to give up on that. But let me put this here. But I mean, really, I don't know what to tell you because it seems like all the historians in the world are lying. I mean, even in Africa, they share that same story. There are the forts, the fortresses. There is a Gorée Island and other places where we have forts, and the history is the same. Is that they came in and they snatched some people to take them to the Americas. So it will be a worldwide conspiracy. It's very unlikely and very difficult to believe, to be honest with you.
But Shaka, see, I mean that's your name, right? Your name is Shaka, right?
Yes, Shaka, yes.
Okay. I'm, like I'm saying, I'm not saying that it didn't happen at all, because something happened. But once again, where is the evidence? It's just like anything else. If something is spoken of, you want to see proof of it. Okay. I haven't seen proof of, and everything I just shared with you.
Brother,
I don't see no proof of nothing.
have you ever read one book about slavery?
Of course I did. Like I said, and I only did. And Shaka, this is the thing.
So
A book is.
which book about slavery did you read?
But hold on, brother. This is what I'm saying. A book can only tell you but so much. That's just like right now, I could read a book about World War II or the Vietnam War. But now, if I actually met a person that been there, should I believe the book, or should I believe the person that actually walked that walk? Okay, I
Well,
lived.
the reason why we rely on books
Okay.
is because it's talking about a time period where we were not there, we were not even born.
Right, brother. But this is what I'm trying to say. Like I'm telling you, and my people is from Charleston. My mother's people is from Charleston. This is my grandmother, my great grandmother, and my great great grandmother. I met them when I went down there. I heard stories. They used to tell me stories, and all that they could tell me is not really too much about slavery. They could tell me they were from the islands, you know. But as far as the slavery thing go, they could tell me that we are Indians. We got Indian in our blood. They tell me that. But as far as anything about Africa, there's nothing. And see, I got to go by what I hear and see, not by something that is written in a book all the time, because a book sometimes could be misguiding. Hell, they rewrite history today, and I guarantee 10 years from now, it's not going to be the same history that me and you see today. It's going to be rewritten how they want it to be. Like they said, his story, and that's is what they be doing.
Okay, well, if you want to believe that there's a worldwide conspiracy and everybody is lying about the history of Africans enslaved in America, you can do that. But I don't think it's the way to go, because when it comes to
But
the
look,
Moors and people who claim to be indigenous, um,
mm,
it's a lot of wishful thinking. I'm not surprised that some people in America, some black people in America, would say, I mean, you have Jim Crow, you have the I think it's called Gollywog, but you have all these uh all these statues, these paintings, these animes, these movies where black people are portrayed in grotesque manner, portrayed as not being intelligent and so on. So I wouldn't be surprised that some people in America will say, I don't have anything to do with Africa. We're from the Cherokee and or whatever else. That doesn't surprise me at all.
but
As
but
a matter
but
of fact, similarly, the same way we have people who claim to be Native Americans, we have people who claim to be Hebrews, and we have people who claim to be
yeah,
Arabs. We have people who
right.
claim to come from Mu and Lemuria, and they could
Mm,
use your same logic in order to make their argument. So basically, it's hearsay. He said, she said. That person
but
said this, that person said that. But worldwide, we have those scholars who make studies for years. And besides, brother, how do you feel about the laws that were passed? Because RP mentioned that in the chat. I couldn't read all the messages, but how about the laws that were passed in order to stop this human trade or commerce? Was that fiction? Was that real?
okay, brother. See,
And sorry, Haiti, 1804, they abolished slavery. They said any black man that sets foot in Haiti, it becomes free automatically. It was an asylum land. What would you say about that?
okay, brother. This is what I say about all that. Like you just talked to me about Hollywood, right?
Hmm.
Now, this man, he controls Hollywood. He can put images out there. He put images out there telling you that Jesus was white, even though in the book itself it says completely different.
He says
It,
he's white in the book.
huh?
In the Bible, it says that Jesus was white. Do you want me to show you?
Well, that's a that's a new one on me, but yeah, I like to. That's a new one there.
I will show you in a few seconds.
Okay, because you know, going back to the Hollywood trip and how they like to revamp words. You know, when they said that he's olive skin. Now, you ask anybody today to walk in any grocery store and look at the color olive. It's either green, dark brown, or black. But then they'll show a white man. Come on.
Now
See, it's manipulating.
you
But
see,
hold
look,
on, brother.
look.
Okay.
That's just about Jesus. Revelation chapter 1, verse 14. His head and his
Hmm.
hairs were
Was white like
white
wool.
like wood, as white as snow.
Yeah, his hair, his hairs.
His head and his hair, not just his
Hmm.
hair. So we have a description of him being as white as snow. You don't get no whiter than snow. But that's just theology, really.
Right, right.
But keep going. Please feel free to
Okay, but
continue.
then you're trying to say Jesus is two-tone because he had black foot. So he had a white head and he had a black foot, unless that was shoes.
I'm sorry. Come again, please.
Okay, now you just showed me in Revelation says his hair and his hair was white like wool. Okay,
Yeah.
so you trying to say that Jesus was two-toned because you're saying his head was white, but then it also said his foot was black.
No, no,
Burnt.
no. It doesn't say black at all.
It
This
says
is an
burnt.
interpretation. It, okay, but burn doesn't mean black. You see, and this is the thing that we are doing. We wish to be in the mix of this Abrahamic belief system, so we come to the conclusion that somehow it means black. There's the issue of bronze. They mentioned something like feet burnt like bronze or whatever, but
Mm.
there was no mention whatsoever of or description of Jesus being black in the Bible. Just like we don't have any description of Muhammad being black in the Sunnah or the Hadith. Well, not at least in the Sahih Hadith. To the contrary, he's described as being white, and we can look at the artifacts of those people, those population, and there's my video called "White Semites Black Awakening." I'm just going to share the link in the chat for those who want to have a look. But I show depictions of those people, the Canaanites, people from Arabia, Sumer, Mesopotamia, and so on, and consistently, the video was shared in the chat. It says Semites, they were not black. They never looked black. They always been white. You know, it's
Okay,
just
so
clear. Yes, yes.
so what about olive? What color is an olive to you?
Okay, let's do this way. Let's do
Okay,
this way.
okay.
Um, so I'm gonna do that,
I mean,
and
because
I'm
olives,
going to
as
type
far
it
as I know,
olive. Look, olive, and I'm going to go to image, and
okay,
it's green.
it's
So I don't know
green.
any human being that's green.
All right. So it's either green, it's dark brown, or black. I see three color olives when I go into the grocery store.
Hmm.
I either see green, dark brown, or black. So, like you said, he unless he's the Incredible Hulk or alien, he was green, or he was dark
So,
brown or
mhm.
black.
So
And
basically,
woolly hair. So woolly hair. That fits more of a description of a black person. If this was a crime scene, if this was a crime scene, and they said the person had olive skin break coming out my window, he had olive skin, and his hair was curly, they will automatically assume it was somebody like me, not somebody that don't look like me.
okay. So if I understand correctly, you are of the opinion that Jesus was black, right?
Amongst other things, yeah.
Okay. Um. Okay. Fine. Fine. But
Yeah,
you're relying on the Bible for that. But
that's
the
true.
Bible, yes. But um, I could quote where it says, I'm sorry about this nose. This is the neighbors. Hold on. I'll just wait. You know what? Let's postpone this. Let's because the neighbors are just doing
Okay.
their thing now. So I don't want this kind of noise. But
Right.
I,
Right.
I might be live streaming either tomorrow or on the weekend. And please feel free to come back, brother Rick Darula. Okay?
Right. No doubt. No doubt. No
Okay.
doubt. Hey, I
Because
enjoyed talking to you, Chaka.
yes, it's good to, and even if you have opposite views, it's good to be able to talk the way we do, and I appreciate
Right.
that. All right, brother.
I appreciate your knowledge too, brother.
All right, thank you very much.
All right.
Okay,
Have a
brother.
good one now.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving medical nature classes, and here, that's the flyer. Okay, so those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video Kemet and Ma'at before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more.
I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody is interested in learning the Meta Nature, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome, awesome, awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hana Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Neture classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge. No question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class. And all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu Netia class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/ma'atforever.